drainage has been disturbed, but also root growth, disrupted soil structure, also leading to loss of microorganisms. The air-water ratio in the soil is disturbed. A lot of erosion, runoff, and splashing can be the result. And due to the heavy tilling, the more you till, the more you plow, the more you expose soil to the climate, the faster organic matter is deteriorating. Also, leaching of nutrients, soil carbon, it goes down. And it also leads to the loss of micro and macroorganisms that makes the soil healthy and also helps the farmer in preventing all kinds of issues in crop growth. They are also necessary for the recycling of nutrients, but also for pest and disease control. So all in all, the loss of soil fertility, reduced soil health, and soil quality is happening. So what's needed? We have to look at solutions to counter this continuous circle of land use conversion and poor agricultural practices. It happens because increasing population means more food is needed, but it also leads to overexploitation of and land use conversion from natural area. And at the same time, because of increasing population, less land is available due to more competing claims. What we call is that more land is needed also for urbanization and infrastructure. So in the end, we have less productive soil, lower yields, more people to feed. So more soils are actually needed. Or we have to look at different systems. So agriculture of the future, we would like to see that we can feed the people still, but with a low impact on ecological and conserve nature and biodiversity. And when we talk about regenerative agriculture, one claim is also that it can reduce the carbon emission, that it also has an impact on climate change. By the way, if I go too fast or if it's not clear enough, please let me know, ask questions. Yeah, okay. If I don't hear anything, I keep on going. So when we look at the regenerative agriculture log frame, then there are many aspects on it. It's not only agronomy; it's also the local community outcomes. So it's objectives, but also the principles behind it. So if you look at agronomic considerations, then it's really on how can soil health be restored by certain measurements, or how can we reverse biodiversity loss? But in the end, it should lead to a more sustainable agriculture and food system and mitigation of climate change. That's the outcome of regenerative agriculture, but also the farm and food system orientation is part of it, that it's more local, a regional self-reliance. So then we also talk, what we call circular agriculture. So it's all a bit interlinked. And sometimes I'm a bit, probably I'm getting too old and maybe a bit cynical and sarcastic, but sometimes I think what's new in regenerative? Because is it another buzzword or what? Because we have talked years for sustainable agriculture, local for local, resilient, and now it's regenerative that's popping up. And that's also what you can see in the number of publications. Since 1982, then the author of this article, they did a search in databases of literature, and checking on the term regenerative farming, regenerative agriculture. And then you can also see that, especially after 2015, then suddenly regenerative as a word is popping up in literature. So what are now the principles of regenerative agriculture? I'm not sure if you can do this, Lisette. I hope that I would be there in Thailand and that we can do a quick, short discussion. But if you heard about the word regenerative agriculture, what's your first thought?
You can type in your chat box, maybe. Maybe Herman, they can type in the chat box.
Okay. Yep. So what's regenerative agriculture? What kind of definition can you think of? Putting soil health in priority. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Environmental. Let's see. Sustainable farming practices, soil health, and good management of natural resources. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Restoring what is lost, enhance the whole ecosystem, inclusive of all life on the land to protect the soil and benefit each other. Agricultural practices that will prevent degradation of natural resources, environmental friendly, how to improve soil health. Okay. Soil health. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think most of generative is the way to improve the soil health. Feasibility. I'm not sure how to interpret feasibility.
How do you mean by feasibility? Suitability of technology in a local context. Okay. Maybe adapting technology that are feasible in the local context. Herman?
Okay. Yeah, well, of course, I think that's with all principles and all theories that it should also be feasible for farming. I think at least that it's not that easy to come up with a clear definition of regenerative agriculture. Although yes, the core is soil health, soil quality. And even that, to describe what's now soil health, what soil quality is difficult to describe. Let me continue with showing what's been discussed in literature. The funny thing is, if you look at literature, many articles, they start writing about regenerative agriculture, but only a few of them try to provide a definition. And the most articles, they just start by talking about we need to introduce regenerative agriculture, and then they give some examples or tools what can be done. But to describe what's now actually regenerative agriculture is in many articles lacking. So there is no agreed definition. but a PhD student at Wageningen, Schrevel, who's doing a PhD study, tried to give a definition that is an approach to farming that uses soil conservation as the entry point. So yes, soil health, soil conservation, soil as a focal point is a starting point. To contribute to multiple provisioning, regulating, and supporting ecosystem services. So also looking at biodiversity is a key point of regenerative agriculture. So it's more than only soil. And as an outcome, they don't look also at the soil and environment, but also that should lead to social and economic dimension of sustainable food production. So actually, regenerative agriculture is more than simply let's see how we can improve the soil by adding organic matter. Yeah, it's more a holistic approach. So to summarize the previous definition, regenerative agriculture addresses two main issues: soil health and biodiversity loss. But actually, if you look at what is already done worldwide, that many of the principles could be associated already to good agricultural practices. But it goes further, since it's not only looking at one type of farming and build on the current farm systems, but rethinks the whole system and also look at how can we integrate the system again. Because over time, farming has been separated. In the past, you had farming as a total system. A farmer had animals, a farmer had arable crops, a farmer had vegetable crops. But due to specialization, those farming systems were separated. And now with regenerative agriculture and rethinking, well, in general, the agricultural systems, more and more sounds are heard that we have to integrate again, because it can support each other. And if you separate them, you will run into problems. Still at the heart of regenerative agriculture, it's really the commitment to improving the ecological and sometimes social outcomes of agriculture practices. So it's not about maximizing yield and production, but also look at the environment. And starting with soil health as a foundation, and then there's a lot of expectations that it can address issues related to climate change, water quality, land productivity, and biodiversity conservation. So the claims are massive, and the problem is a bit that the proof is a bit lacking. Well, I will share later this presentation, and then you can read more about definitions, because there are more institutes, more companies that try to come up with a definition, like the Rodale Institute, that they are also looking more at organic agriculture, regenerative organic agriculture. And at Farmers Without Borders, they also try to formulate a definition. But I think the core, and I think you also mentioned it during the quick round, that soil health seems to be the central, having a pivotal role. And another one, WUR, is also an organization that works a lot with regenerative agriculture projects. And I think there you can see it's a holistic practice. It's not trying to change a bit here and a bit there in the existing system, but it's really looking at how can we really make a difference, a different system. Let me skip this. It's a lot of text, and for whom is interested, you can read it later. But I think this is also a nice overview what regenerative agriculture looks at, and the same PhD student Grevel in an article provided this table that you can look at all kind of activities which are below the dotted line, and that's, I think, that as a farmer, as an extension service provider, we can look a lot at, like minimize external inputs, so use most local produce or inputs, sorry, use of manure and compost, use of perennials, other soil activities, minimize tillage, crop rotation. I think that's really down to earth what we really can comprehend and understand and can work with. While the objectives, we should work to that. And then in the dark red one, it's still related to the soil. So that's also within, I think, within reach of practical activities. Like the activities that are put in the red boxes should lead to improve soil biodiversity, improve soil carbon status, physical quality, and enhance and improve soil health. If you look at the green boxes, yeah, that's more related to the planet, improve the ecosystem, elevate climate change, improve water quality and availability. That's on a bigger scale, on a bigger level. And then, the people and the profit. I think, well, the profit, the improved economic prosperity. If you work on soil quality and improve yield levels, then my impression is also it will also improve the direct economic profit prosperity of the farmers. Yeah, the picture is clear.